everything like that. But let's knock on into our first conversation this morning, and we're here joined with the WABAFU, WADAFU, Fishermen's Association, and we are going to be talking about the Fisherfolk Month happening or beginning June 1st. That's this Saturday right here. On the couch with us this morning, we have Ms. Deseree Arzu, who's Communication Coordinator from the Wildlife Conservation Society, as well as Ms. Ralna Lewis, who's the Assistant Country Director of the Marine Program and the Wildlife Conservation Society as well.
Morning.
So good morning, to both of you. How are we both feeling this morning?
I'm pretty good.
Likewise.
So,
One slight correction though. We are not WABAFU. We're WCS, Wildlife Conservation Society. However, we do work with WABAFU Fisher Association from Dangriga.
right.
Yes,
Thank you so much for that correction.
Partners, yes.
Right. So we're talking about Fisherfolk Month now. So for some people who first time they hear about Fisherfolk
They live
Month,
under a rock in the sea.
like Patrick Star. Right? So let's educate. How long have we been celebrating our fisher folks with a whole month?
So it's been, in terms of the month, I believe it's been 9 years since we've been doing Fisherfolk Month.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But in terms of Fisher of the Year Award, which is a recognition we have the latter part of June, that has been happening for over 10 years. So we've been identifying outstanding fishers, who have contributed towards their associations, their cooperative, and basically in helping to build a sustainable fisheries sector. So those are the persons that we recognize. But we've been having the month of celebrations, I believe, for around 9 years now.
Okay, great.
Yeah, even during when we had COVID, we had different activities that were remote that fit the guidelines during that period of time in order to continue with the month of celebrations and, recognition for fisherfolk.
COVID never stopped your fisher jam.
Well, I mean, the sea is wide and open. Let's do it, right? But so, what activities have we been doing in the past to celebrate Fisher Folks Month?
Yeah, so we've had activities such as which Desiree will get into the month of, for this year at least, we've had activities which looks at, like I said, the Fisher of the Year Awards. We've had Fisher Fairs, as well as we have our Women in Fisheries Forum. And actually the theme for this year is Leave No One Behind in Building an Enabling Environment for Our Small-Scale Fisheries. So, that theme resonates in terms of the inclusivity, ensuring that everyone is involved, everyone who plays a role in our small-scale fisheries sector, that they're recognized, and that we are able to highlight the importance that their role has in terms of that entire value chain for our small-scale fisheries sector.
Okay.
It's been 10 years since the FAO voluntary guidelines for securing small-scale fisheries was passed, and it's a voluntary guideline, and it really speaks to the whole human rights approach to fisheries, which basically, we're looking at ensuring that fishers have rights, and with rights comes responsibility.
Yes.
Right, so we're ensuring that they are organized, that they're able to advocate on behalf of themselves, and they're able to ensure that, everyone within their association, their different members are able to reap the benefits that comes along with being organized, being a part of these associations. But obviously, like we said, there are responsibilities. So there are management measures in place which are passed by the Belize Fisheries Department, and your different NGO partners also conduct studies and so on, which basically inform these management measures that are put in place. I think recently you had folks from Coastal Zone here talking about the Belize Oceans plan that they're working on. So that plan basically looks at mapping out the different users for our ocean space. And obviously with that, they're looking at expanding what we call our marine protected areas. And, those measures are put in place in order to ensure that our small-scale fisheries sector is basically sustained, and you have that longevity so new persons can enter the fishery and have the ability to then be able to fish. That's basically is the whole premise behind it. So those are different measures that are in place, but this month, June, is basically to celebrate fishers, because you've been talking about the fires that we've seen on land, but from late last year, we've seen an increase in sea surface temperature.
Yes.
There was warnings issued exactly by NOAA saying that the temperature is rising, and we've seen mass bleaching events. That therefore affects our fishers, because if corals aren't healthy, then obviously it affects the whole fisheries, the food chain. So, fishers have been impacted, and they are seeing what is happening out at sea. Now we're seeing it on land. And obviously, like they said, we might have a more active hurricane season. So these are all these impacts that are affecting our fisher folks. So hence the reason we've created this month to really recognize fishers and really bring attention to what they're facing. And I just want to mention one important activity. You know, all the activities are important, but one activity that we're having this year is the Women in Fisheries Forum. This is the 7th one that we're having. We're planning to have it in Hopkins this year.
Ooh.
And, you know, over the years, the women have been meeting, and, you know, at the last forum, their focus was to get organized. We have cooperatives and fisherfolk associations that, for the most part, are led by men. We have women in them, but they want an association, a national association, which really focuses on empowering women involved in the fisheries.
Right.
Because we don't have a lot of registered commercial fishers that are women. I think the percentage is around 3 or 7%.
Wow.
But they do play a large role in the processing, like the other activities in the value chain, whether
Right.
it's processing, marketing, sales, and so on. You know, they're involved in that part of it, and at home as well, preparing for the trips. So we want to ensure that when we have these grants and these different benefits being provided to the fishing community, that we're not leaving women out of it because
Right.
they're involved in it. So hence the reason we really want to focus on forming an association, and that is what we have planned for this year's forum.
And I mean, it fits perfectly into the theme, leaving no one behind.
Exactly.
Indeed, right?
And I'm liking that it's fisher folk. And because we all know fishermen. We just say fishermen.
Yeah.
And we have to get out of that and understand it's fisher folk, because there are more than just men involved in making sure
Correct.
everything runs smoothly.
One of the words that was left out of the theme is artisanal. And basically that is just saying that these men and women who fish are skilled at what they do, at what they're doing. Prior to working in conservation, I didn't know all the information I know now about fishers. And one of the things that I always mention is that these folks are so skilled, they know where to go. So they'll tell you, we know what bait to use to catch what specific species. You know exactly where to go to catch whatever species that you wanna catch. So they are skilled, and many of them are traditional fishers. So their grandfathers or grandparents or fishers, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers, their sisters, wives and husbands go on fishing trips together. So they are skilled at what they do, and we must not underestimate the dedication that it takes for these fishers to go every day to fish for us, to provide seafood on our tables, in restaurants, for our economy. So this celebration every June that we have is to recognize these people.
Okay.
And one of the activities, Ralna mentioned the Women in Fisheries, one of the big ones, I mean, all of them are important, but the Fisher of the Year, where we recognize we recognize fishers who are doing great in their field, and it doesn't just mean fishing sustainably, but also involving other activities like being a member of a fisher association, for example, or being someone who is vocal in cooperatives, and someone whom their community admires and recognizes and respects as well. So we have the call for nomination for Fisher of the Year, where we ask folks to identify a particular fisher who they think is can be recognized as that person who is setting the example of sustainable fishery to his or her colleagues and to the entire country as well, to nominate these people, their guidelines. And we're going to be airing that call for nomination starting on Monday, where you can write in 250 words about that person and why they deserve to get this award. And then the special ceremony to award, we're going to award 3 persons, 2 outstanding and 1 Fisher of the Year, will be on the 27th, I believe, of June, where we'll recognize these folks. So we're kicking off the month of celebrations on the 1st, which is Saturday, with the Wabafo Fisher Fair in Dangriga. And the unique thing about this is that Wabafo Fisher Association, they are the ones organizing it with support from WCS. So a lot of times you see organizations planning for events without involving the people who they are planning the event for. For the past 3 years, this year is the 3rd year, Wabafo has taken the lead with support from WCS and other organizations to organize this fair that will promote the work of fishers, not just in Dangriga, but all over the country. So this is our kickoff event on Saturday, and we invite the public in Dangriga and around communities. I mean, wherever you're from in the country and you want to see what these organizations like us, WCS, has to offer fishers and what fishers themselves are doing, come out to the fair at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. It will be at the old market area in Dangriga, close to the fire station. When you cross the main bridge, you take a right as you pass the bridge, and in that area, you're going to see all the action happening.
All right.
10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
10 a.m.
This
to
Saturday
4
right
p.m.,
here.
yes.
That's just one of the events.
One
Yeah.
of the events.
Where can people go to see the full chain, like a lead calendar of what's happening for the month?
So it's on our social media pages, WCS Belize. All our social media pages are at WCS Belize. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, we have LinkedIn, we have YouTube, we have the full works. You can go up there, you can see all the details. Follow our pages if you're not already following. And we do have our supporting organizations and partners who have shared the calendar as well. This year, we have quite a few. If you look at the calendar that we sent, quite a few organizations have added their activities to the calendar as well. So previously, we didn't have this. So now you will see activities from Belize Audubon Society, for example, from Turnip Atoll Sustainability Association, from TNC, from the Ministry of Blue Economy and Disaster Risk Management, and other organizations, including SACD, which is working in Sartaneja with fishers there. There's a list of activities over the course of the month that they have also included on the calendar for Fisherfolk Month. So there are several activities that are catered to fishers, that involve fishers for the month, because it's all about them.
Ms. Deseree, you were mentioning earlier about the opening of the nominations for the Fisher Person of the Year, right? They would have to write this thing. Where do they submit these nominations?
Okay, so the submissions can be made either to my email, via email at drzu at wcs.org, or to the Fisheries Department, to Isabel Magana, which is ISABEL dot Magana. Sorry, that Martinez. ISABEL dot Martinez at gov.bz.
All right, thank you very much.
And they could also drop it off in person. So if you don't have access to a computer, for example, you could print it and fill it out and then drop it off at 1755 Coney Drive or at the Fisheries Department on Newtown Barracks.
Oh, perfect.
All right, thank you so much for that. I'm putting all of this in the chat, people. Again, you can go visit the Wildlife Conservation Society at their social media handles, which is WCS Belize.
Yes.
And nominations for the Fisher Person of the Year, or the Fisher Person of the Year, or the Fisher of the Year, sorry.
Fisher of the Year.
Yes, those nominations can be sent to drzu at wcs.org or Miss Isabel Martinez at isabel.martinez@gob.bz. Or you could go drop it off at the office, like you said.
So at those same addresses as well, those email addresses, you can request the form, because the form is not available online.
Okay.
You can either request it at those email, or you can drop by the offices and ask for a copy, and we'll definitely provide that. And one of the not a stipulation, but we're also catering to the younger folks. So they like TikTok and videos and so forth. You can submit your nominations in video format. So you have 2 minutes to talk and do whatever it is to nominate that Fisher of the Year, that prospective.
So I could go over 250 words, people.
But like,
keep it on a 2 minutes.
but in a video,
Yes,
it doesn't have to
exactly.
be 2 minutes condensing. And that's a good way, because you can make it fun. You can actually
Yes.
show all the pictures, the videos of that person out
Yeah.
there. I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
So apart from the beginning, the kickoff with the Fisher Fair, and the ending with the Fisher of the Year,
And then after the
what
conference too
other,
as well.
on the conference, what other events are you looking forward to?
Well, there is the Blue Economy Fair that they're having as well. I think that would be, and that's open to the public, so you could go and learn about the different initiatives that are currently underway, which basically looks at bridging the fisheries sector and livelihoods, how they're integrating diversified livelihoods for fishers. I mean, like we said, we've seen all the different impacts that, the environmental stressors and so on are having on persons' ability to generate an income, but what avenues are there to diversify the household income of fishers so that, despite all of these challenges that they're facing, they're still able to provide
that
that
money.
income
Yep.
for their household. So I think that would be a great forum and fair that they're having. And I believe that's the 6th and the 7th
Yes.
Okay.
of June. So please come out. It's at Biltmore. So please
Okay.
do come and, be a part of the fair and learn about, what all are out there,
And the event, and the event I look forward to, one of them is the blessing of the boats.
Yes.
We do the blessing of the
Oh,
boats
okay.
before the fishers go to sea. That's on the 28th of June. That will be in the court, downtown Belize City by the swing bridge. And then we leave from the, from National Cooperative, and we go up to Northern Cooperative with the father, and they bless the boat and bless everybody and throw holy water upon them. Make sure
Aw,
they have
I
a
love
good
that.
season.
I love that. I
Because
love that.
the lobster season opens on the 1st, so
Yeah.
these guys are there preparing, getting their ice together and ready to go to sea. So that's a timely activity.
I like
I think
that.
it's so fascinating. I forgot who I was having the conversation with, that these people go to sea for weeks upon weeks
Yeah.
just in order to get that haul to bring back in, and they set straight back out again.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And that's why I always say that you see the fisher folk going out, but you don't understand all the sacrifices and understand the hard work will go into it too, as well. The
Yeah.
families that they have to leave behind
Yeah.
while they're out there for those umpteen amount of time, and things that they have to miss too out of their family life too, because
Right.
of being out there,
Yeah.
just to make sure that they can make ends meet and they can provide you the quality that you deserve when you go out there and eat and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
That's all they're providing for you. So
Both men and
definitely-
women.
Both men and women, exactly. Both men
I
and
know our
women.
time is running out, so I want to quickly just mention our top sponsors for Fisherfolk Month. The Ministry of Blue Economy and Disaster Risk Management. TNC, every year they donate
Yeah.
towards a Fisher of the Year award, and the Belize Tourism Board. Those are some of our top sponsors, so we want to tell them thanks, and to everyone else who have supported us over the years as well. Thank you so much.
Definitely. And I'm glad to see that, government and these entities are involved to make sure that we're continuing, pushing, highlighting, commemorating Fisherfolk for all the hard work that they're doing to us well. As we're wrapping up, is there any final words you want to make the public understand when it comes to Fisherfolk, this practice, this livelihood, anything you feel like you need to cement in their mind, because when they go home, they need to go tell their picnic this or something along that line?
Yeah, we need to respect our fisher folk and understand, when the prices that we meet when we go to the fish market and so on, like they've said, it's a dangerous job. It's one that they love, and it's, a lot of challenges that they're facing. So please respect our fisher folk. And, when you go, if you enjoy the seafood and so on, understand all the backstory that comes in terms of delivering that seafood to your plate. And to our fishers, I'd like to tell them, please get organized and learn and advocate on behalf of yourself and your members. I mean, there's so many things going on in the blue space. You need to know your rights,
Yeah.
and so please get organized. That's one of the messages I have for the fisherfolk community.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
honestly, like knowing your rights, but then also knowing your responsibilities is a perfect matrimonial, a good combination to help you make wise decisions and, develop yourself as much as possible too, as well as the country. So thank you so much
Yes,
for this
thank you
conversation.
so
Remember, you
much.
can go, Brandon has put everything in the chat where you can go for social media handles, where you can go to get the forms to nominate. Nominations open right here Monday, guys. So please send in your nominations or send in your videos. We're super
Yes.
excited for all of that aspect too as well. And make sure we're highlighting, commemorating, and respecting our fisher folk out there. Thank you so much,
Right,
ladies, for
thank
being
you.
here.
Thank
You as well.
And happy Fisher Folks Month.
Yes.
Yes.
I know the month not but we kick it off in advance.
Right here.
Yes.
And with that, guys, we go to our next commercial break. But when we are back,